So this week, Dana Brooke took on Sasha Banks with the stipulation that if Dana Brooke wins, it'll be a handicap match at SummerSlam, but if Sasha wins, then Dana Brooke is banned from ringside. Obviously, Sasha was going to win, but I will say though that now that Sasha has been getting pinned more often, it at least makes her matches less predictable. We know she's going to keep the title until WrestleMania, but if we knew she was going to keep an undefeated streak all the way up until then, that would have really stagnated the division. As for this match, I think Dana Brooke looked a lot better than usual. She delivered her spots well, her strikes looked convincing, and she displayed a good amount of aggression. Although, maybe you could give a lot of credit for Dana's work to Sasha's selling in this match, which was pretty brutal. One thing I haven't really heard anybody else talk about is the fact that Charlotte turned heel on Dana Brooke when she waited for Sasha to move out of the way. That way she could slap Dana Brooke in the face. I thought that was a completely pathetic and cowardly move on behalf of Charlotte. So hopefully Dana does something about that. But over on Smackdown, Eva Marie has been the victim of a few unfortunate tragedies that have prevented her from competing. But it looks like this might be building up to a match against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, which would be awesome. The one thing that wrestling really lacks nowadays are true heels that get legitimate heat. Smarks are under the impression that if you get booed, that means you're doing a terrible job. But it's the opposite. If you're a heel that gets cheered, then you're not a very good heel. So regardless of all the stupid excuses that Smarks want to use to discredit the reactions that Eva Marie gets, she is one of the only true heels in the company right now. So you put her against one of the most lovable faces in the company in Becky Lynch, and you have an ultimate good versus bad combination. Another feud going on right now is between Carmella and Natalya. It's not much of a feud, but at least it is something. You want to establish Carmella on the main roster, and there's no better opponent that you can put her with to bring the best out of her than Natalya. Now, there's a lot that can be said about Natalya's character as a heel, but I think her ring work as a heel is up to par. The mannerisms, the way she toys with her opponent, the trash talking. She works really good as a heel in the ring. So over on NXT, the division is obviously doing a lot of rebuilding. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are quickly being shot to the top of the division after a year of being the designated jobbers. And you can tell NXT is really hurting a lot after losing Alexa Bliss and Carmella to Smackdown. And with Bayley coming up pretty soon, they're going to have to completely rebuild the division from scratch. So this week, Billie Kay took on Liv Morgan. Now, Billie Kay's new gimmick is kind of an Ice Queen / Cruella de Vil type of character, which is interesting. This is a character that you would believe wouldn't be afraid of Asuka, which is probably what she's being built up for. As far as the contract signing between Asuka and Bayley, there's been a lot of criticism about Bayley's mic work and how she comes off as awkward on the mic. But I think that works with her character. Plus, I don't know if this is going to be a controversial comment, but none of the women really have good mic skills. They all have the exact same issue where either they sound way too scripted or way too forced. You have a few that still do a decent job on the mic, like Sasha Banks and Summer Rae, but even then, you can still tell that it's not natural, and you can just hear the acting and rehearsing in between their lines. So sure, there are issues with Bayley's mic work, but it's the same issues that everybody has. So aside from the women, let's talk about the superstars. Even though Omar and I bashed the shows last week, I will say that I have been more interested in the WWE since the draft than I have been in the last couple of years. I think a lot of that has to do with the presentation, the return of the red and blue ropes, the different stages, the different rosters. Part of me wants the brand split to work because I always loved the brand split. But what's holding it back is the lack of real stars on the roster. And the guys that they are trying to make into stars don't really appeal to anybody outside of the NXT fan base. Hence, the record low ratings every single week. Now, I'm not as hostile toward NXT as Omar is, but I do have a huge problem with WWE catering to the NXT fan base. It's at the point where WWE is relying on the reputation of NXT to get people over. They bring in guys like Finn Balor and don't even bother to do anything to make them interesting. They just push them to the main event and say, here, look at this great wrestler from NXT, love them. WWE assumes that all their fans are smarks, and that's exactly why they're driving away all the rest of their fans. But I'll save that rant for another time. So outside of WWE, Damien Sandow made his debut in TNA. And this is why it's unfortunate that TNA isn't on a bigger network, because they've been doing a lot of things right lately. They have the greatest wrestler of all time in Matt Hardy on their roster, who has been single-handedly carrying the company. They have Lashley, who lately has been more of a legit star than Brock Lesnar. And you've got real superstars like Derek Bateman, Drew McIntyre, and now Damien Sandow putting WWE's roster to shame. In fact, if TNA was able to sign Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett, and Ryback, they would probably have an even more stacked main event than both WWE rosters. So now I want to talk about our channel and some things that we plan on doing going forward. So one of the main complaints we got in our feedbacks and update video was the lack of consistent uploads. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed, we've been uploading a lot more videos more consistently since we came back. And that is because we are going to try to upload at least 2 videos per week from this point on, with at least one of which being Diva related. You'll get one video in the middle of the week and one on the weekend. Now, a lot of you have been asking when our next Divas Q&A is going to be. Well, I'm currently working on a mega Q&A, answering every single question that I have saved up. Now, admittedly, I don't have every question that I've ever been asked saved up. So if you don't see your question answered in that video, don't worry. All you have to do is comment it again on that video, and I'll be able to answer it more sooner than I would have had. So the view count on our wrestling videos has been down pretty much all year. And I was wondering what the problem was, because just last year, we were doing at least 4,000 views per video, and that was on a bad day. Now, we sometimes struggle to even get 1,000. Now, I figured it was something with YouTube, that they did something that screwed up how it tracks views, and that's why we weren't getting as many. But earlier this week, I uploaded a Scream video, and that got more views in 1 week than any of our other videos uploaded this year. So what that tells me is that maybe it is just that wrestling is dying. So that's why we kind of want to start doing other videos. So starting next month, we're going to be doing a lot more videos outside of wrestling. I might even do a Scream season finale video next week, which, by the way, I want to get this in here just in case. I do believe that Emma's dad was the original killer, but I'm starting to think that MTV won't reveal him as the killer until next season, if there is a next season. So just in case he's not revealed next week, I want to have a backup prediction. So my backup prediction for who Kieran's accomplice is going to be Stavo. There's a couple of clues that do point to him being the killer, such as when he stole lipstick from Brooke, and then the killer wrote something in Emma's locker in lipstick. And then there was the point where Noah got a virus on his computer from the killer. That happened directly after Stavo sent Noah an email to open up. So that's my backup pick. If it's not Emma's dad, it's going to be Stavo. Also, I'm interested in making videos about the presidential election this year, because this is a really important election. I don't care whether you're red or blue, Raw or Smackdown. We cannot allow Hillary Clinton to be elected. Now, I wish more people would be smart enough to see through all the crap and be able to understand exactly how big of a threat Hillary Clinton really is. She's investing millions of dollars into social media to silence anybody that calls her out on the internet. She's using the media to manipulate what people hear. There's been at least 8 people who have stood up against her, and ended up dead since April. But I'm sure that's just a coincidence, because, I mean, to call that a conspiracy theory, that's just crazy. But it is a pretty funny coincidence, though. And these are all things that have happened on her road to the nomination. Imagine how much worse it's going to get if she actually is elected. No matter how much you hate Donald Trump, you have to understand what Hillary Clinton really is. But let's move on to a much lighter note. The comment video response. Before I start, I want to acknowledge our subscriber of the week. And this is going to go to the person who has left the best comments of the week so far. And I'm going to give this one to TheChrisPhoenix. He has commented on all our videos this week, and they were all detailed, insightful, and hilarious. So congratulations, Christopher. You've really come a long way from us wanting to hunt you down and kill you. I also want to include another award here. As most of you guys know, we do have a subscriber who comments on our videos who goes by the name of WWE and TNA Talk. That is Kevin Dunn's YouTube account, and right now he is the top heel of our channel. So what I want to see is who can be the next top babyface to overthrow him. So I am introducing the Internet Championship. This is going to be rewarded to whoever is able to defeat Kevin Dunn in a fair and square match. So this week we had a bit of a six-pack challenge between Kevin Dunn, J220011 Divas Fan Forever, Mary Thomas, Bella Twins, Jay-Z Gaming, and Eat the Feet. As you can expect, this match was full of lots of brawlings and low blows, blood was spilled, a lot of near falls, but by the end of the match, it was J220011 Divas Fan Forever who showed the most heart, the most determination, never backed down, never gave up against all the odds. So congratulations, you are our new Internet Champion. So with all of that out of the way, it's time to get into the comment video response. And I want to start off by responding to all of the quote-unquote counters in my Die Paige Die video. So let's start off with this circle jerk, exchange between Daryl Lee and Mulan Milanovic or whatever. Apparently, they think I give wrestling fans like them a bad name. Now, I don't know what kind of wrestling fans they think they are, but from what I'm seeing here, they're the type of wrestling fans that think insulting people is a good way to counter their points. In which case, yes, it is my job as the captain of the Bella Army to make wrestling fans like you look bad. That's something that I take pride in, although I think you're doing a pretty good job of making yourselves look bad yourself. From Tiger 1999, he makes a point that apparently I'm blinded by my obsession with the Bellas because they also botch and all this other stuff. Let me put it to you like this. The Bellas are the worst wrestlers of all time. There. Now, does that mean Paige doesn't botch or anything? No. See, these types of arguments don't hold any type of water or credibility. So now we get on to one of the few constructive arguments, and this comes from Champion Unstable Ambrose. They argue that Tough Enough is scripted and everyone on there plays a character, and she was just the only heel judge at the time. So yeah, I'm not going to deny that most of it wasn't an act. Although I will say that The Miz, as a heel judge, didn't really go as far as Paige did with her heel act, which kinda says a lot. Then he says that if I'm gonna bash Paige for her attitude, I also have to bash Stone Cold and Randy Orton for their attitudes. Well, see, this argument kind of falls flat on its face because you know who else agrees that Stone Cold was a bit of a douche? Stone Cold himself. Randy Orton also admits that he had an attitude problem. Shawn Michaels also admits he used to be a prick. There's a lot of wrestlers that have had attitude problems in the past, and just about all of them have come out and admitted and regretted their attitudes from the past. From Jen545, just because she acts one way in real life doesn't mean her act on Tough Enough isn't still fake. True, very true, and I was mostly just screwing around with that point anyway. Then he says I'm a mean person for insulting Paige as a person. Well, I didn't really say anything that wasn't true. Yeah, she does cuss a lot, and yeah, she gets into a lot of trouble, but that doesn't make her a horrible person. It just means maybe her tough enough persona is a little bit closer to who she is than her anti-diva character. So here's another comment that I wanted to get into. A few people have asked how come I hate Sasha Banks, or what do I have against Sasha Banks? I don't have anything against Sasha Banks. In fact, I like Sasha Banks. I haven't said anything bad about Sasha Banks, at least anything that wasn't a joke. All my criticisms about Sasha Banks have been about the booking, and it's not even so much of just how they're booking her, it's this attitude that WWE has gotten to where they're trying to portray it as the NXT women are superior to every other woman in history. We've been spending at least 5 years fighting for the Divas division to finally have the proper opportunities. And it feels like Triple H has just completely hijacked that, and he's just using it as an excuse to get his favorites over. That's what my issue is. It has nothing to do with Sasha Banks, has nothing to do with Charlotte, has nothing to do with any of the NXT women. It has to do with the fact that Triple H has completely hijacked this movement while still completely ignoring every other woman that has been fighting for the opportunities that they're getting right now. Like, even to this day, when they talk about these women's wrestling revolutions, they only really mention that in regards to Charlotte and Sasha Banks. They don't talk about that when Becky Lynch is out there. They don't talk about that when any of the Smackdown divas are out there. They only use that to get Sasha Banks and Charlotte over, and that's what my problem is. It feels like they're getting preferential treatment and everybody else is just being treated like crap. But I'll probably make a video going more in detail about that later, but just want to make that clear. This comment comes from Aaron Wesley, who defends Finn Balor, and asks us, how come we hate everyone that's popular? So about Finn Balor, I don't really care whether he's in the main event or not. He's just an easy target to make fun of. But I will say that after SummerSlam, we're going to start uploading more roster videos where we go through every wrestler on the current roster and let you guys know our thoughts on all of them and where we think they should be. So if you want to know what we really think about the whole roster, wait for that video. So I got a lot of tweets from Daryl Lee asking me to re-upload my reviews from 2014. So I do have them all edited and they're ready to upload, but I've been debating on what would be better. Do I just re-upload all of them at once? Or should I just wait until I'm able to appeal all of the videos that have been copyright strike? That way the original videos can be restored. Let me know what you guys would rather I do. This next request comes from Internet Champion J220011 on Twitter, who wants me to respond to a couple of anti-Bella videos on YouTube. And I'd be more than happy to bury these pieces of crap, but unfortunately, we're out of time on this video, but I will gladly respond to this video in the next MTO Vision. But in the meantime, if anyone else has anything else that they want me to bury, leave suggestions in the comments below and I will respond to them in the next episode. It can be a YouTube video or a comment or an internet post or a tweet or a website. Whatever you want me to bury, leave it in the comments below and I will destroy it